What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Casual Academy. My name is Nathan Karimi, and I'm joined as always by my cousin and co-host.
What's up, guys? I'm Kevin Zimbelman.
Tonight, we went to Birmingham, Alabama with UFC 14 for the worst event.
Possibly the worst event
in UFC history, in the brief UFC history. Now, admittedly, it was not the worst event because the fights were terrible. There were a couple terrible fights, but you kind of brought this up. The pacing was just all over the place. It was almost like they were going to try something new, decided at the last minute not to. Let's put it this way. I would not be surprised if we found out that like there was a production truck explosion or something. You know what I mean?
They had a bunch of footage that they wanted to show. And they were like, fuck, it's gone. Yeah. Do another promo.
Like, yeah, exactly.
They had like 4 interviews of Mark Kerr just being there. Just like, yeah, I think I'm going to win or something like that. And it was the 4 interviews of the same shit.
And they did like a whole wrestling segment, which felt out of place, just all over the fucking map. You want to jump right into these fights?
Let's do it.
Because it felt like there was a ton of fights.
There was, and there was more bad fights than good fights. So let's just knock these out.
More bad fights than good fights. Yeah, and one thing we're kind of going to do something a little bit different, guys. Kevin and I have talked about this. Is we want our focus to be more on the guys that have potential historical impact in the sport, right? So that said, this is what it's going to be like. If you don't mind, let me handle this first one all by myself.
Yeah, you got it.
Worst fight in UFC history: Yuri Valin versus Joe Moreira. Joe Moreira got on top of him, and then that never ended. Are we done?
The whole fight.
Fucking terrible. And then
15 minutes.
Joe Moreira backed out of the fight. So terrible.
Joe Moreira claimed he got injured, but it was literally to duck the winner of the next fight, who looked very good.
Even though he said the doctor stopped it and not him.
Oh, he did?
Dude, so here's what this fight was. If you guys remember Royce Gracie versus Art Jemerson, this was a Russian boxer versus a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. If Art Jemerson didn't tap in 3 seconds and Royce just stayed there for 15 minutes, that was that fight.
Yeah, that's a perfect comparison.
Done. Fuck that fight. Historical impact, 0.
Nothing.
Okay. Now the UFC 14 was broken down into 2 tournaments. They were originally calling everything under 200 pounds lightweight, but then tonight they seem to call it middleweight, under 200 pounds. And then heavyweight was above 200 pounds. So there's a middleweight tournament, a middleweight tournament, a heavyweight tournament. And then there was the super fight, which was the returning champion, Mark Coleman, versus another champion, although from another organization, a kickboxing champion with tremendous knockout power, Maurice Smith. So we'll get into those. Middleweight tournament fight number 2, Todd Butler versus Kevin Jackson.
I don't remember who Todd Butler is. That's how fast Kevin Jackson ran through this man like butter. Pause, but yeah.
Why? Yeah, I guess so. I guess you can use butter. I guess that could work. Yeah, dude, Kevin Jackson was a beast, though.
Ooh, he looked good.
Yeah.
Pause. But yeah.
Yeah, you're pausing a little bit too much, dude. We need to fast forward a little bit here. Let's see. Kevin Jackson was a 2-time 1991, 1995 Olympic gold medalist. And he treated everyone exactly like that's what it was. I mean, he just ran through this dude. Todd Butler's historical impact score, 0. Kevin Jackson, right now,
pretty high.
I'm feeling like it's a 10.
Ooh, that's high.
Dude, he looked
good. Unstoppable. He absolutely did look unstoppable. But the fact that like we don't know him in UFC history makes me think,
yes,
what is he going to do? But right now, looking at that, not thinking of anything, like me, if I'm watching this back in whatever time period it is, 1990, whatever, it's like, oh, we have a contender. We have
Yeah.
So,
and not to mention, he's a lightweight, meaning he's under 200 pounds. I feel like he could fucking smash Mark Coleman the way he looked. I mean, he looked great.
Yeah.
Also, I've heard the name Kevin Jackson. It's just that when I saw him, he looked different than who I thought Kevin. If I'm not mistaken, Chuck Liddell knocked out Kevin Jackson.
Oh,
but it might not be the same guy. So cool. Well, that's the first round of the middleweight tournament.
Immediately after watching this, you just immediately think, oh, Kevin Jackson's going to win the whole tournament.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it didn't even feel like it was going to be a fucking possibility. So then we brought this up, but Joe Moreira gets hurt. Tony Strickland, if you don't know Tony Strickland, he is most famous for taking the up elbow in Cage Rage from Anderson Silva and going completely out. Tony Strickland, this was that weird pacing thing, was all of a sudden they're showing Joe Moreira's out, and then all of a sudden we're in another fight, like introing the other fight, and it was Tony Strickland versus some other guy. Unfortunately, I don't remember. Or was that Jackson? No. Tony Strickland fights his earlier fight. It was the alternate. He wins that. He comes in to fight Kevin Jackson. One thing to note, in his fight, Anthony Strickland, they're calling him, threw an absurdly after the stoppage punch that was like a horrendous. John McCarthy busts in the cage, gets fucking eyeball to eyeball with this guy, and says what I can only imagine is like, don't ever fucking let that happen again or you're done.
He said something about, we're not going to let that fly.
Okay.
But you still had him go on to fight. Like, I feel like if you really weren't going to let it fly, like, DQ the man. Like, the fight was over. The ref came in, stopped it, and then before he got up, just a sucker punch, dude. That's just bitch shit.
Yeah, a bad sucker punch. And he was like not apologetic at first. No. In the interview he was. But I think what they were thinking was, look, the real payback is he's got to fucking fight Kevin Jackson. How'd that go?
That's a good point. Yeah, Kevin Jackson dished out some punishment, rightfully deserved.
Dude, not only is Kevin Jackson this Olympic level 2-time gold medalist, he is also, he's throwing hooks in on guys, taking their back like he's a fucking jiu-jitsu black belt. He looked more like a jiu-jitsu black belt than fucking Tony Moreira did, or
Joe
whatever. Joe Moreira.
Yeah. And you know what's funny on Kevin Jackson's, like, not his accolades, but his like characteristics or whatever they show on the sides, like wrestling, this, that. It said like some submissions.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he was clean on the ground.
He was pretty like humble and modest in his interviews. That's probably what they told him. That's probably what he said. Like, yeah, I have some submissions.
Yeah, you're probably, yeah.
You know, but dude, Kevin Jackson
tapped Strickland's bitch ass out in under a minute.
Yeah, got both of his opponents out with rear naked chokes. So anyway, long story short, that was the middleweight tournament. Kevin Jackson was the winner of that. I'm going to go over here and look at this computer for the heavyweight tournament. The heavyweight tournament, the first one was Mark Kerr versus the Israeli survivor. He doesn't seem to survive very well. I mean, they just made a movie about Mark Kerr, the Smashing Machine. The documentary came out. He was of Pride fame. I'm not going to get into my long-term thoughts about Mark Kerr, but long story short, Mark Kerr just wrestle fucked him.
Yeah, he did. But like, the way you make it, when you say that, it makes it sound boring.
No, it wasn't boring.
Yeah. He wasn't. Yeah.
He just dominated.
Dominant.
Absolutely.
He really looked like Mark Coleman. I thought when I saw him like shoot that double leg, immediately have great top control, just start like doing some damage and kind of a little bit of relentlessness. I was like, oh, that looks like Coleman.
Yeah, dude, he does. And they train together and everything. And you said he looked more methodical than Coleman.
Yeah, because Coleman, when he like gets you to the ground, he's just like fucking 5 headbutts.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like Kerr tries to get to the most advantageous spot and then he'll deal his
works from there. And he did some great work from there.
And he got to those positions very fast. He's skilled.
He's good. He's athletic, dude. And I guess this was not this one. This was the final. Okay, let's get to the next fight. Daniel Bobish versus Brian Johnston. Brian Johnston is the guy that trains at AKA. He's this big 6'1", 6'2", super fit looking guy who's got judo throws. He's athletic. He's a fighter. He's a puncher. He's a kicker. All of these things. But he was going against a 315-pound brick shithouse in Bobish.
Yeah, they said Tank Abbott, but stronger.
Which is crazy because Tank was like the strongest fucking dude you've ever seen.
Right.
And dude, this was just kind of Brian Johnson threw as many punches as he could and tried his best as he could to kind of like play matador to the bull, but the guy just got him, took him down, and he basically finished him the way that Tank Abbott finished Steve Jenham.
Yeah.
Head against the fence, and the guy just tapped.
2 big takeaways. One, Brian Johnson has the hardest fights. Like, why? Like, he doesn't have a normal fight. I think he's really good. I think he would fuck people up if they were like not really good fighters.
He would have beat everyone who lost tonight, I think.
Yeah. Like, he's a good fighter, but guy can only do so much.
That's a fantastic takeaway.
Second takeaway, the UFC's been lacking on their matchmaking. We watch it and we're like, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do this? They need to do Bobish versus Tank Abbott. If they don't, that's a crime, dude, because that fight would be fireworks.
I would take Bobish versus Cal Worsham too.
Yeah.
So that fight, like historical impact score, they
10.
both.
No.
They both just felt like guys who like we'll probably see on and off for the next 5 years, but they'll fade out and. So what, Dude, Bobish, because he's on my radar a little bit. He's on my radar a little bit too until the fucking heavyweight tournament where he went against Mark Kerr. And Mark Kerr opened up with, they weren't like beautiful in the sense that they were pretty or like well done, but these absurdly hard leg kicks. Dude, he had no fear of the takedown because this other guy, Bobish, is a wrestler too. Mark Kerr just dogged the fuck out of him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, huge leg kicks. I could not believe, one, Bobish didn't like flinch from those, and two, I can't believe Kerr opened up with that. I thought for sure he was gonna like test the grappling, try to get Bobish tired, but no, he just went right at him.
Dude, that's always encouraging for me. So unfortunately, I know a little bit too much about Mark Kerr's career to like give a realistic, unbiased, like historical impact score in MMA, but it's always encouraging to me when you see guys who are like wrestlers who don't shoot right away. It's like, oh, they've been working on other things. This is mixed martial arts. His kicks looked good. His punches looked okay. His control was perfect. I've never heard of Bobish until tonight. So I don't know how much that win means, but Mark Kerr looked as good as you can possibly look against a 315-pound, absolutely solid muscle monster.
Yeah, Kerr showed off tonight, man. It makes me think like, dude, Kerr versus Coleman would be awesome.
Yeah.
Even like Kerr versus Don Fry would be fun.
Yeah, just Kerr getting in there against the elite guys.
From what I've seen tonight, like he looks very capable of that. He looks elite to me. He looks like a new contender, and that's always great to see new dope guys come up.
The final was Mark Coleman versus Maurice Smith. What do you think about that?
That was a fun fight, man. We always say like the super fights are always like kind of boring, kind of lackluster. But this one was pretty fun. I mean, it looked like Coleman was just doing whatever the fuck he wanted to do. And we thought that was going to be the whole fight. But Maurice is a dog, man. He like outlasted Coleman, I guess, because Coleman really just gassed out. And we've talked about Coleman's gas tank before, but this is the biggest like indication of, oh yeah, this is a negative asset to his game.
Dude, he was more tired than I've ever seen anyone be tired in the octagon, I think. Besides himself versus Don Fry.
Yeah, right.
When he promised his cardio would get better.
Yeah, in his fight against Don Fry, he like stopped to put his hands on his knees maybe one time. In this fight, he probably did that like 6 times.
I bet you he had his hands on his knees for a full minute in the fight. Like, they show like ground control time. If they showed like completely exhausted time, I bet it was in the ballpark of 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, man, it was crazy because he was just doing like whatever he wanted until he couldn't. And then after that, there was like, he didn't give anything.
He didn't seem to give a fuck if he got knocked out. He was just like, dude, I got to rest.
Yeah.
Also, Maurice Smith first of all, they really made this out to be a super fight, even though we'd never heard of Maurice Smith. Clearly, new fans at the time had never heard of him, because if you're watching the UFC, unless you're really deep and watching other organizations, you don't know who this guy is, but they claim he's a champion. He seemed like he never even thought for a moment he was going to lose to Mark Coleman.
Yeah.
And he did not.
No. Yeah. He was talking mad shit. He was like one-dimensional wrestling, but he's not going to know what to do. Yeah. He said he punches like a girl. Yeah.
Dude. And the crazy thing is, too, he did more damage from the bottom. He was throwing elbows from the bottom. He was kneeing Mark Coleman in the head while Mark Coleman had side control, which is crazy.
He did more damage everywhere.
He escaped several times. Maurice Smith is a dog, and he's good, and he lived up to the hype. And dude, he was flaunting on Mark Coleman. By the end of it, he was just toying with his ass.
Yeah, man. He was.
So that's it, dude. That's that whole event. Like the fights were not the problem, but this is one thing me and Kevin said. We were like, it almost felt like, oh, all of the stars of the UFC are busy. We can get Mark Coleman, tell his wrestling buddy to come along, and then here's a couple new guys. But compared to the last event where we had Tito Ortiz, we had fucking Randy Couture.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who the tournament winner is, but it's like two huge debuts like that. Like, this event just did not have that historical impact score for this event, even though Kevin Jackson looks amazing, even though Maurice Smith looked good, Mark Kerr was relevant. What is your kind of out of 10 historical impact score?
Man, honestly, after recapping the fights, we do have 3 quote contenders. You have Kevin Jackson, you have Kerr, and you have
Maurice Smith.
If he continues to fight for the UFC,
which I'm sure he does. I've heard the name before.
Okay. And in that case, like, I would say pretty high of the fact that we have 3 exciting contenders. Like, it's like, oh, Maurice Smith versus Vitor Belfort. That shit would be fun.
Right.
I think Vitor would fuck him up, but it would be fun.
But we don't know.
We don't know. And I think there's fun matchmaking to do. And that being said, I would give it maybe a 6.
Right. I was going to say 7, and that felt generous. So let's call it a 6.5.
Yeah, I think so.
Pound for pound list. Obviously, we're nowhere near 20. We're not even halfway through the 11 through 20. So anyone relevant on that pound for pound list?
At this point, no, because I haven't, quote, did enough.
Yeah.
But I think, no doubt in my mind, by the time we get to the end of this list, I would have a feeling all 3 guys are going to be on there.
Will be relevant. I feel like Mark Coleman's like loss was like unforgivable, and everyone's going to be like, oh, as long as, I mean, easier said than done, but if you can hang out with Mark Coleman for 10 minutes, he's going to get too tired to function.
Yeah.
Kevin Jackson, I didn't see, he looked tremendous. I mean, if I'm just grading him, 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
But we don't know his opponents who were they? Right, I literally, looking at it now, I can't remember who his both opponents were. Tony Fricklin and
Bobish was the big guy. Never mind.
Yeah. So like, in that regard, there wasn't the opposition for me to like guarantee he's going to be on the list. However, I'm going to be watching out for him and shit. But
yeah, man, I think UFC 14 actually had a lot of potential. I mean, between the 3 guys who we just said, like, were really good. The only problem was the few fights that were boring, they were the fights that were boring were really boring.
They need to cut Joe Moreira and not allow him back in. He is going to single-handedly tank this fucking sport.
Yeah. And the pacing. So the fact that some of the fights were like extremely boring and the pacing was long, this event dragged a little bit.
Yeah.
But the fights that were good.
Dude, they relied too much on having like such a strong formula of like middleweight, heavyweight, middleweight, final, heavyweight, final. They had that lockdown airtight. They just didn't know what to do in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, that's really all I got for this. I wasn't like mega thrilled with this event, but I am really excited to see what Kevin Jackson does. And Maurice Smith, I think what was more shocking was that Mark Coleman got so tired, but I am excited to see him.
Yeah, he never lost a championship fight, according right now at least.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
So cool, man. Got anything else?
No.
Cool.
Couture beats everybody, you think? Couture versus Kerr. That'd be fun. I don't know if we get to see
that.
That
would be fun. Now, do you remember the one thing they said? Couture and Kerr wrestled.
Oh, yeah,
and Mark Kerr won.
And Mark Kerr beat him.
Now, if there's one thing that we know for 100% certain, and if we don't know it for 100% certain, let me remind you of a gentleman by the name of Bo Nickel. Wrestling is wrestling, and MMA is MMA. And by that, I mean Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Yes, this is modern era shit, but Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, does anybody think Bo Nickel beats him?
No.
Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, I think, wipes the fucking floor with Bo Nickel. So if I had to make a guess, I would guess that Randy Couture would not just beat Mark Kerr. I think he would beat the ever-loving fucking shit out of Mark Kerr.
That's a fair assumption.
You know what I mean?
That's a fair assumption.
Randy put MMA together better than anybody.
Yeah, and this makes me think if Randy were to fight Coleman, he would fucking dog walk him too, because Randy got cardio.
Dude, in MMA, there's something that just is not people need to take that mixed martial arts seriously, the mix element. Mm-hmm. The X Factor shit in MMA, like that, being able to put it together, like you can be elite in multiple different spaces. If you cannot put it together, you are not elite in MMA. How many guys have we seen come in like Davi Ramos or whatever, however you say that guy's name, who was like a fucking like elite multiple time world champion in jiu-jitsu, and then like comes over and fucking doesn't even get into the top 15. Guys like Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel still could have a beautiful career. I'm not taking anything away from him, but as of right now, he's kind of capped at like top 13.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the prelims on the next pay-per-view.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
What?
Yeah, he is.
This motherfucker was on the cover of ESPN of the new game, and he's on the prelims.
Yeah.
That's a slap in the face. I wonder if that does something to him mentally.
I don't know.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It must be a good ass card.
Maybe it's a bounce back, but it is a good card.
Yeah.
It's the Islam JDM card.
Oh, cool. So yeah, man. Anyway, this event was what it was. I'm very, very, very excited for 15 because I think that the guys from this one mixed with the guys from the last one could be very interesting.
Yeah. I hope they do good with the matchmaking because they got some good opportunities on their hands.
So right now, let's make this the last thing. You're making matches. I'm going to name guys. You tell me who you'd match them with.
Okay.
Kevin Jackson, who are you matching him with?
Maybe like Ken.
Love that. But Ken's like 230, isn't he?
Yeah. But Jackson could fill out. I don't know.
Dude, I think
that'd be a good fight.
One thing that I think that I still think Ken is like the man. Ken's cardio would have never failed him. Like Ken was just a professional through and through. Mm-hmm. I don't think he would have these Mark Coleman issues. I think he could have outlasted that. I would almost like to see Maurice Smith with Ken. Seems like they showed that, didn't they? Like,
I don't know.
That there was a highlight. Weren't we like, that's Ken. That was Ken.
I don't know.
Yeah, when we were watching. Anyway, so cool, man. And so Kevin Jackson, you put him with
Couture and Kerr.
Couture and Kerr, I love. Kind of a rematch of sorts.
And then Bobish and Tank. Put them all on one card,
dude. Bobish and Tank would be tight. God, dude, we would have been able to sell the UFC for $4 billion 10 years before they did if you and me were matchmaking.
So
cool. Well, guys, that was another episode of Casual Academy MMA. That was UFC 14 in Birmingham, Alabama. Quick recap. The heavyweight champion right now is Maurice Smith. The middleweight competition winner is Kevin Jackson. And the heavyweight competition winner is Mark Kerr. So these are the three guys to look out for moving forward. We will update that pound for pound list. Nothing inspired us enough tonight to formally put someone on. But nonetheless, we do it. One very last thing. I do think that knowing that we only have our top 10 list from 1 to 10, I'm sure Kevin Jackson would run through a lot of those guys.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's it. Anyway, thanks, guys. Do us a favor, like and subscribe. It does help the channel. We are at like 400 and something subscribers. We need to get to 500, and you guys can help us. We love chatting with you guys in the comments. So keep on letting us know. Also, one thing I want to say is this: is if you guys have any kind of special interest things, or you want to see us do a side episode and kind of get on a side path and look at some other things that are going on in the sport, we love to hear your stories. Like when people are telling us like, hey, my uncle trained with Ken for 2 days. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's
dude.
Cool as shit.
Like all that kind of shit. This is why we're doing this. We know that there's old heads out there that are laughing at us when we say things like, we've heard of Maurice Smith, and you guys probably were obsessed with this 40 years ago. Keep the comments coming, man. We really want to build a community, and we really want this thing to kind of grow into a place where we know that you can come here to us for not just MMA history, but MMA history fight by fight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not any of the bullshit. No like social media, no like, oh, this person, this beefing with this. It's like, nah, this is just the fights. This is just the history. This is just legacy and progression of the sport, man. We want the pure fans, and we're so happy to have y'all commenting, liking, watching all our videos. You know, it means the world.
It absolutely does. So anyway, guys, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time for UFC 15. Another episode of Casual Academy in the books.
Peace.